Hello there. So, I just watched Thallumaala, and I gotta say, I absolutely find it amazing. I will admit that the story is terrible. The story is absolutely makes no sense. However, it's as if the writer, director, the editor absolutely understood what they were trying to create. Because if the story was too chaotic, like a regular linear narrative, and you did this editing style, it wouldn't really fit unless you were trying to go for something unique like Quentin Tarantino. No, this one went unique in the aspect of the fact that it was editing to kind of hide the story, to kind of make you, because I did have a watch along for it, and it is interesting to see how I was thinking things one way, and I was saying things about like Raji and during the fight, during the wedding, during certain aspects, and it turns out that that's exactly what he was trying to do later on. Like with characters, we're actually trying to do something different. However, with the way it's done, it makes it more interesting because you're shown one thing and then you're shown something different. Why did he abandon his friends? Why did he go off and hide after the whole wedding incident happened? What led up to everything? What was going on? It just shows so much. How did these people, like, one of the biggest issues I had was just like, they got in a fight and now they're best friends. They got in a fight and now they're best friends. They got in a fight and now they're best friends. And then after they get 5 people, every fight after that, they no longer make friends. They're just their own little clique, fighting another little clique, fighting another little clique, fighting another little clique. And it was just one of those things. They're just like, okay, I get it. It's a gimmick. But the animation was absolutely phenomenal. I love the comic book aspect. I love the 2D animation on top of the live action. I love the gimmicks of switching the chapters. Because there was one where it goes into being like a YouTube loading screen, and I was just like, what the heck? This is ridiculous. Why are you doing this? It was just about to get to something good. The fighting was absolutely amazing. Even though there aren't that many fights, it just cuts around from different perspectives, or you just see someone get slapped, and then they show why that slap happened later on, or the actual fight later on. The most amazing fight out of the entire movie was in the theater. That one was the most cinematically beautiful, one of the most action-packed, what had wide open spaces, the camera angles, the movements, everything was just spectacular. The one in the wedding wasn't as strong. All the other ones weren't as great, but some of the parallels between, like when they were showing Raji fighting Yazim, and between the wedding and in the car thing, the entire time I was watching, I was trying to figure out where we were at, and after finishing it, I could click and go like, oh, okay, now everything makes sense. And honestly, it's difficult to do something like that, which is why they went with a more simplistic story, which is why they went with such a weak story. Because if you were actually to put it in a linear narrative, it would be, everyone would be complaining about it. Everyone would. You just need to edit it in order, and it'd just be like, this thing's weak. It's not interesting. It's very straightforward, and there would be a lot of the same scenes shown over again if you did that, because they do a lot of the same scenes. But it helps to anchor yourself on why you're here. It helps to anchor yourself on why this person's doing this, because it jumps all around the place that you have no real anchor. If they remove those redone scenes in the way that's done here, it would be hard to follow along. It'd be hard to so why is this here? Because it helped me realize that he was on his way to a date, or a date, when he got in his first fight at the very beginning. Because they show the wedding, and that's the person it's crazy. It's absolutely terrible story, but it's so well done in the editing and the directing and the animation that it makes it spectacular overall. Like, I'm someone who cares about story, but watching this, I was enthralled because I was just trying to put pieces together. I'm sure on a rewatch, I'll just be watching for the action scenes because, like, the story's weak. I did not like really any of the characters because a lot of them didn't make any sense, especially the female. I could not stand her. As soon as they introduced her, literally manipulating a situation to where she could be, oh, this guy chased me and we fended him off. I'm a strong, powerful woman. No, you're a terrible human being because you're destroying someone's life because you forced him in that situation. It was just like all these little things that they were doing with her, I absolutely despised. And the fact that she kept toying with him, she kept toying with Wazim the entire movie. Every time, everything was a test. Everything, whether it was the her getting remarried, whether spoilers, whether it was her refusing to fly with him, whether it was, no matter what it was, everything was a test. Who could stand someone like that? It was absolutely mind-boggling that it was just like, dude, you could do far better than this piece of garbage. Just look for someone better, someone more but I guess he was a terrible person who just loved to fight, and she was a terrible person who enjoyed attention. So it works, and the way it ended with no one being happy worked for me, because I was like, what the heck, this can't be the end. And then it goes to like a not really a post-credit scene, because they roll the credits. They basically said the end, and then they show through the end that the title, through the title, that they show something that made me happy, because I was like, yeah, that's how it should be. It continues, but it continues because they both, he can't stop the fact that there was that one guy who kept popping up, the Baba, the character. It was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious, because all this stuff was a running gag. Just like the guy who foamed him at his wedding. It was just like, so this is a guy who's been having cameos in my life. It's just the funny little dialogue. I kind of wish one thing they did, only when it was through his narration, because they didn't have much narration. I know it would take more time. I was hoping that they would pause like the scene. Like, you know, when he is having the narration in his head and we're all hearing it, I wish he would have looked at the camera, everything around him freezes, and then he's like narrating to us directly. Like everything's being told after the fact. Like he's watching it with us and telling us what's going on. You know, kind of like a watch along, kind of like a reaction video to the movie. I think that would have been a nice little addition to it. Just because it was trying to break a lot of walls with how it did the editing, the animation. It was trying to show tropes of like TikTok, of Instagram, social media, a lot of things like that. Even like like I said, the one thing I liked was like the chapter teasers, because one of them was basically like YouTube, and I was just like, I was watching that and just like, what the heck? But it's just like, this movie really did work because it knew what it was going for. It absolutely knew what it was going for. And I mean, I love story. I said that before. And this story was awful. But because of how they went about it, it turned out to be a phenomenal film. Because it's not all about, you know, the story. It's not all about the acting. It's not all about all that stuff. It's about knowing what you have and doing justice by it. Knowing what to do, because I'm pretty sure this was planned out to be shot that way. There's no way you shoot the scenes that they shot, which were very amazing, like some of the fight scenes which were paralleled right next to each other. Those were just amazingly well done. There's no way you don't plan this out way in advance, and the story was written with this in mind. So they knew exactly that they couldn't do too much because people would get lost. Honestly, it would have been one of those where if the story was a lot more concise and a lot more, you know, stronger, it would have been harder for those of us, even me, like, and I'm not that great, I just love watching stories, that it would have been hard to follow along. But it would have forced, like in the theaters, people would have walked out confused and not liked it as much. But if you walk out after first viewing, loving the action, enjoying the story, enjoying how it was editing, finding yourself entertained, that's all it's about. If you walk out basically going, I don't get it, this is just makes no sense, and then you have to watch it 2-3 more times, sure, that works, but that's more of a niche type of thing, and not a lot of people are willing to do that. A lot of people just want to be entertained. Of course, after the third, fourth time, when you understand everything that's going on, it becomes more entertaining, but a lot of people aren't willing to go through that, and this one knew what it was going for, absolutely nailed the mark. I heavily recommend this film. Because honestly, everything I said isn't really a spoiler because the movie starts at the end. It starts at the very end. Well, maybe a few minutes before the very end, but it's just like it jumps all over the place. I still right now am pretty sure that there are a few things that I'm miscategorizing, but it was pretty good at how it did it to let you know at the very end, oh, that's what's going on. So I highly recommend this movie. This movie was fun to watch. And I know I say fun a lot, but it was fun. It was fun. I found myself sitting there getting annoyed at some characters, enjoying some other characters, wondering what the heck was going on, saying a few things about some character, only to turn out that what I was saying at the beginning turned out to be the actual case at the very end because they didn't show us how it got to that point. And it was just like mind-blowing for me because I was like, okay, this worked. This absolutely worked. But it wasn't a strong story. Like I even said that at the very end. I was like, it was good. It was good. It wasn't a strong story, but it was good. Yeah, I love this movie. I'll definitely give it another watch because it's just an entertaining film. It's one of those that you can just turn on and you don't really have to think about. You can just watch it and be enjoyed because the editing, it's fast paced. It's got a lot of colors with the animation, the 2D animation, the comic book strips. It's got a lot of gimmicks. So in the end, it's one of those movies that you don't need to really listen to enjoy because there's just so much fast paced stuff going on that it's like a background film. One thing you can watch over and over and over again without really having to worry about anything. But yeah, as you can tell, I liked this movie. Even though the story was weak, I absolutely enjoyed this movie. Don't hold that against me, though. Don't hold that against me because it knew what it was doing. This film absolutely knew what it was doing, and props to them for that. Props to them. Thank you all for watching. Definitely, you guys should watch this movie. And if you've already seen it, watch it again. Watch it again. See if you can catch a few things that you didn't catch the first time. See if it's even better the second time around, or if it's worse. Is it worse because the story isn't as strong? Is it only strong because of the editing aspect? I mean, what makes it? But yeah, let me know in your comment section down below. But I can say for a fact that I enjoyed this film and I will be watching it again. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.